Now, the ANC National Executive Committee is the party's highest decision-making body and comprises of the top 7 and an additional 80 members. Sihle Zikalala, Mduduzi, Manana, Mdumiseni, Ntuli are among those at the top of that list of the new NEC. We continue reflecting on the new members, and we're now joined by former presidential spokesperson and NEC member Khusela Diko. A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time. Congratulations are in order. You're number 28 on the list. Voted in the ANC for the first time. How does it feel?
Well, thank you, Mpho. Good morning also to your viewers. I think we're still in shock. I think that it is the highest honor that the African National Congress can bestow upon any of its members for them to serve at this highest level of the organization. So we are humbled by the confidence that branches of the ANC have shown in us. And I think that over the next couple of days, we'll still be trying to digest, the big responsibility that comes with it.
Yeah. Observers have hailed the new NEC for achieving gender parity and also ushering in that much-needed youth injection after failing to achieve the 50-50 gender balance conference in terms of the delegates that attended. The gender parity was achieved in the NEC makeup. How significant do you think the new mix is, and how should it be interpreted by South Africans?
Well, President Ramaphosa called this particular conference a watershed conference, and I think that we agree with him in that regard. Firstly, it was the first time that we had gender parity in the officials of the ANC, the so-called top 7, where you have seen 3 women coming in to complement the 4 men that are already serving in the top 7. But if you look across the NEC, we also recorded a 50.5% of women who are now members of the National Executive as a whole. So it's been a very decisive, I think, victory for gender equality. It's a very decisive victory for our calls for gender equality. However, it has not come, I think, without its own challenges, where for the longest time there's been this artificial ceiling in the African National Congress where women are considered, if you look at all structures of the organization, for example, especially at the office bearer level, we have seen only 1 woman perhaps serving in a top 5, which is composed largely of men. So this has been a very, very significant achievement for us. And I think women across the board are celebrating. But it is those glass ceilings that women need to continue to break. But it's also not just about having women there. It's about ensuring that, yes, there is representation, but that there's participation and also equality of opportunity for women in the African National Congress. So it's only a start, and we hope to see more of it going forward.
Yeah. And how are you hoping to add your voice to the mix and ensure progress and really making an impact?
Well, I think our starting point is that there must come a time in the African National Congress where we don't just speak about women leaders, but we speak about leaders in general. That means that all women who have been elected in structures of our organization need to ensure that they capacitate themselves and that they are able to equal any task that has been given against them. And we have no doubt that many of them already have the ability and the credibility to do so. But when we are there, we also have a responsibility, I think, as women to ensure that we truly drive a progressive feminist agenda so that when you look at the policies of the African National Congress, those policies must be engendered. We must speak to the issues that affect women across all walks of life. When we speak about issues of gender-based violence, when we speak about economic emancipation, those are things that we need to ensure that we put at the agenda on the agenda through an engendered lens. So there's going to be a lot of work, and it requires women across the African National Congress, across society. It's not a responsibility just of the Women's League, but of the ANC and society as a whole.
ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula has spoken quite a bit about his expectations for the newly elected NEC, saying he plans to run a tight ship at Ntuli House and that ill-disciplined members will not be tolerated. I mean, you were forced to resign as President Ramaphosa's spokesperson after that scandal relating to the awarding of a contract during the peak of COVID-19. In joining the ANC for the first time and having learned some tough lessons, what are you aiming to do differently this time around?
Well, I think we fully support the Secretary General of the African National Congress, Comrade Fikile Mbalula. There's no space for ill discipline in the ANC. But also, members of the ANC need to understand that nobody is above the law, which means that all members, from the President, his spokesperson, right down to the last member of a branch of the African National Congress, we must all be held to account. You reference a situation that I had found myself in, where allegations had been put against me, against my family, and those allegations were fully tested by our law enforcement agencies. And I'm glad to say, Mpho, that there had been no finding of any dishonesty or such on my part. But you speak about tough lessons, and indeed those tough lessons have been learned. One of those is to ensure that members of the ANC, leaders of society, need to understand that we are held to a much higher standard than mere legality. So the very important, the small things count, and it's important that we always ensure that we try to earn the trust of our people. It's not negotiable. That is what people require from the African National Congress, and that is what we need to ensure that we live up to it on a single day.
If our connection will hold, the 55th Elective Conference exposed a disconnect between the Provincial Executive Committee and the party's branches. I mean, we saw how several branches defied orders from their PEC leaders when they affirmed their support for candidates who were from other provinces. Now, as a PEC member in Gauteng, what was your take on this picture?
Well, I don't regard that as defiance, Mpho. Through the eye of the needle, which is the document of the ANC that seeks to guide the election of leadership, it speaks about and be lobbied on any.
Okay, Khusela, I think we're going to have to leave it there. That line not coming out very strongly on your end. But thank you so much for your time. Former presidential spokesperson and ANC NEC member Khusela Diko speaking to us about her role and what it means